Hello and welcome to another vlog. So today's Christmas Eve. I hope you're all having a wonderful festive period, doing lots of exciting things. So normally on Christmas Eve I tend to go out, but COVID has scuppered my plans, so I thought I would do the more COVID friendly thing and vlog instead, which is why I'm dressed up in my Christmassy outfit. So in case you can't see, my top says Merry Catmas, you've got all the cats. Then I've got my snowflake leggings, and then sticking with the cat theme, which is obviously the most important theme, I've got my cat socks. So if you look at them, they've got the same colourings as Bodicea. So we're now matching. I've become that person. And in case you've forgotten what Mia Bodicea looks like, I'll put a clip in here. Unlikely, since she features in most of my vlogs, but I'll insert a clip of this morning when she tried to steal my chair. I left her there for a while and then she got turfed out. So I think the thing about COVID, when it ruins your plans, it's about staying focused on the fact that if you're healthy, that's something to be grateful for, and making your own fun in a way. So even though I won't be going out today, I've decided to make it a really fun, festive day. And I say day, I'm sort of nocturnal, which is why you can see the darkness outside. Should I tell you my sleeping hours? Yes, okay. I go to bed at 4 AM in the morning and I get up at midday. That's just my natural body clock, and because I'm doing a master's, it is possible. Next year, when I have to enter the real world again, it may not be possible, but for now I'm going to enjoy being in sync with my natural body clock. And also, let's take a moment to appreciate the teeth. I had my braces off a few weeks ago, and I have never been more grateful for being able to bite into an apple. It's a simple pleasure in life, really. And so, in terms of the itinerary for today, I'm going to be making breakfast, a festive themed breakfast. I'll get on with that shortly. And then, I think I've mentioned before, I tend to have 2 main meals and snacks as opposed to breakfast, lunch and dinner. And maybe because I get up so late. But even when I got up earlier, I tended to do that. So I will have my breakfast soon, and then I'm going to have some snacks. And the fun thing I'll be doing today is I'll be making red and green Christmas snowflake cookies. Not snowflake cookies, sorry, star cookies. I got the biscuit cutters, I've got the food dye, so we'll be doing that a bit later as well. So I'll catch up with you when I'm having my breakfast. Okay, so I'm in the kitchen and I'm ready to start with festive meal number 1. So, very first thing I need, I've got the Hovis Best of Both bread. I used to eat brown bread because it's meant to be healthier for you, and it probably is, but then I just love white bread so much, so I feel that's a compromise. Best of both. So I think I'm going to get 2 slices of this. Also, I don't eat the heel of bread. Does anyone eat the heel of bread? If so, let me know, because I've never met anyone who does. Okay, so I've got my 2 slices of Best of Both bread, and I'm going to pop that onto the breadboard. So I've never done this before, but I bought these little cookie cutters for my vegan biscuits I'm making later, and I'm going to try and cut out little stars in the bread. Will it work? I hope so. Okay, so let's have a go. Yep, we're in luck. Got little stars. I foolishly went right to the centre of the bread. I'm trying to get 2 out of the other one. Will it work? 1 and 2. Perfect. So now I've got, so you can get properly, 3 Christmas stars, which I'm going to pop onto the plate. I'm going to put the rest of the bread away. And now for the toppings, the exciting bits. So I've got my 3 Christmas stars. I've got a variety of toppings. So I've got Sweet Freedom Choc Shot. This is absolutely amazing. I am obsessed with Choc Shot. It's basically a healthier version of chocolate spread. Let's read the ingredients. Where are they? sweet freedom natural fruit extracts, carob and apple, cocoa, water, grapeseed oil and natural flavour. So per teaspoon it's only 13 calories and 0.2 grams of fat. So really good. I have it in original chocolate and in mint flavour. So I'm going to give the mint flavour today, I think. I'm just going to give it a bit of a shake and then pop it onto the stars. Lovely sound effect. Yeah, you can tell how much I love this because it's running out. I think if I spread that will suffice. And then on the other one, I'm going to pop some olive spread and jam. Okay, so I got it. It's the light olive spread from Tesco. I'm a huge fan of olive spread. I think it's better than butter. It's got that delicious olivey taste. Very easy to spread. So I'm just going to get some of that and pop it on both of my little stars. There we go. So I've got 2 little stars with olive spread. And next I'm going to go in with, this is my favourite, apricot conserve. So it's the Bon Maman apricot conserve. I sometimes use raspberry or strawberry, but apricot's my favourite. I'm just going to pop that on both the stars as well. And I'm also going to give the chocolate one a bit of a spread, so I think that needs a spread. There we go. So I've got the starting point for my breakfast. I've got my, it looks a bit sad, doesn't it? I should have had more. I might cut another chocolate one to make it a bit, to fill it out a bit. Okay, so like magic, I've improved the quality of these. I've just spread out, I've cut 2 more and I spread out the fillings to the edges. I think they look a little bit better. Still not the most aesthetic plate. So I'm just going to finish this off now. I've got some raspberries from Tesco. I've already washed them and they're just regular raspberries. And I'm just going to sprinkle some on. Just going to pop a few of those on for a pop of colour, extra health. Enough raspberries now. So this is the finished breakfast. I've got my Christmas stars with the, oh, and one of the stars is the regular chop shot. One is the mint chop shot, which is now finished. If you want to send me something, send me the mint chop shot. I need some more. And there we go. I'm gonna go off and eat this now. Along with that, I'm gonna have my mint tea in one of my plethora of cat mugs. It's just the Tesco Peppermint Infusion tea. I've been really into this in the winter. It's just so cleansing, refreshing, warming, everything you want in a tea. So I'm gonna have my mint tea, have my beautiful Christmassy breakfast, and I will catch up with you when I eat something else. So bye for now. One last picture before it gets demolished. Probably the prettiest thing I've ever made, and that's not saying much. Okay, so I'm done with breakfast. In terms of a review, I think it would have worked better with toast. I don't tend to eat just bread with things on it, so I would prefer it toasted, but it did taste really good. And also I ate all of the raspberries afterwards. So now it's time for a snack. So I'm obsessed with these Jaffa, what are they called? Easy peelers. They're clementines, so definitely recommend. The Jaffa ones are definitely better than the supermarket own brand ones, I think, even though they are slightly more expensive. So I've got one which I've already peeled, which I'm going to have now, and I probably will have the second one afterwards. Also, I feel like clementines are a sort of Christmas food, right? But while I have my snack, I wanted to talk about something. So I want to talk about gratitude, because I think Christmas is a time where it's very easy to feel ungrateful, or not necessarily ungrateful, but like you want more. I definitely have fallen foul of this in the past, where you think, I want, better presents, or just feeling very disappointed that you didn't go out more, or it didn't measure up to your expectations. And I think it's because when we're little, it's kind of presented as a magical time. Anything's possible, magic people bring you presents, and the expectation is set right up here. And that's why when you get older, it's very easy to feel disappointed that, like I say, you didn't go out enough, you didn't have enough fun, it didn't measure up to your expectations, you didn't get the presents you wanted. And I think it's just really important at this time to realise that you should be grateful for the things that did happen. So if you went out once and that was really good, there'll be people who didn't go out at all. Or you had one really fun activity, some people wouldn't have any. So I think that's something, I'm not preaching, it's just something I tell myself during this time, that everyone has different lives, and people who do go out more or do have more fun objectively, who post all the time on Facebook like, look at this, they have their own problems, and maybe they didn't even enjoy the things that they're telling everyone about. So just be grateful for what you have. And I was talking to a friend of mine, shout out to Manel, about Christmas disappointment and, you know, watching bad films. Again, sometimes you just got to change your mindset and make your own fun, which is what I'm doing today, hopefully. I've had a great time so far vlogging. So it's just finding little things that make you happy, and it doesn't have to be things that other people would find exciting. As long as you're happy in yourself, that's the important thing. So a bit later I'm going to work on my book, unsurprisingly, and read some things. Also, I feel there's a lot of pressure to do Christmas things, and I don't know about you, comment below if you like any Christmas movies. I hate Christmas movies. I find them all, I'm trying to think of one I like. No, I find them cliche, unoriginal, uninspired. The only decent one is The Nightmare Before Christmas, which is, you could argue, more of a Halloween film. I like Halloween films, but again it links into this idea that I think it's the materialistic element of it. The expectations are really, really high. We should be feeling magical and joyful, and maybe when you're young you do feel those things, and then you get older and you're like, oh. So I think it's just about, you know, do things that make you happy. They don't need to be Christmassy. I like to go a little bit Christmassy with the clothes and some of the foods, but you don't have to do that. Just do things that make you happy, that bring you joy, and that's all you need to do. And maybe just reach out to the people that are important to you and let them know how you feel. Okay, so that's it for my little gratitude. I was going to say rant, but it's not a rant. Gratitude exploration, discussion. Monologue. That's probably it. So that's it for now. I'm going to eat my seamounts, and I'm going to catch up with you when I make my Christmassy meal and the vegan red and green cookies. So literally the second after I finished that last segment, I took a segment of the clementine, and it had 2 pips in it. I'm sorry, but I do not expect clementines to have pips in them, so I therefore retract my glowing recommendation of the Jaffa clementines, and I would now give it 4 stars, because they are very juicy and flavourful, but they do have pips in. 2 pips in one segment. So that is my updated review of the Jaffa clementines. So it's a little bit later on and it's time for dinner. So today I'll be making, or rather heating up, Plant Chef no pork and Cranberry Wellington, 100% plant-based. It's containing soya and wheat protein with cranberry sauce in a pastry lattice. So this is actually what I'll be having tomorrow for Christmas dinner, but my parents want the oven tomorrow to make their massive chicken, obviously not vegan, and so they've instructed me to make my food today. They love me really. So this is what I'll be making. I'm really excited to try it. I haven't had it before, but it looks really, really good. So let's do the big reveal. Okay, so this is what it looks like uncooked. Not the most appealing, but we'll see how it turns out a bit later. So we're gonna pop this in the oven, and then I'll be making my other Christmas treats. In case you want to see the packaging, this is it. Plant Chef, no pork and Cranberry Wellington. Hopefully that's what it will look like in 40 minutes when it comes out of the oven. So fingers crossed, I'll have that to look forward to shortly. So in the meantime, I'm going to be making red and white vegan Christmas biscuits. Really simple. I've done this recipe before for rainbow biscuits. It involves a layering technique. I've got all my food dyes laid out. I used the Lamino food colouring. It's vegan, obviously. I found on Amazon. I think it's about £8. Really, really good. Though I've forgotten the most important thing. I've got flour, sugar, and vegan margarine. I need gloves. If you don't use gloves when you're using these food colourings, you get rainbow hands, which I had last time when I made the rainbow biscuits. A bit embarrassing. So I'm going to get gloves and come back. So these biscuits are the absolute easiest biscuits to make. You can't even forget the measurements. So all you need is 100 grams of caster sugar. I use white caster sugar. You can use brown caster sugar, you can use soft brown sugar, any sugar you want, but I just go with the basic, which is white caster sugar. After 100 grams of caster sugar, you need 200 grams of vegan margarine. I use, not sure you can see it, the Stork biscuit one. Make sure, it's really important, you take it out of the fridge for about a couple of hours beforehand because you want it to get to room temperature, otherwise it's going to be a nightmare to combine the 3 ingredients. So this is what I'm using. And then finally you want 300 grams of plain flour. There's no need for self-raising because you don't need it to rise. So those are your 3 ingredients, 100, 200 and 300. Can't forget it. And you don't even have any technique, you're just putting them into the bowl together, mixing them together and then rolling it out and cutting them into the right shape, okay? So let's go in first with our 100 grams of sugar. So the order that you add these ingredients doesn't really matter as long as they all go in. So let's pop this in, make sure it's in grams, and let's get our 100 grams of sugar. How fortunate! 100 grams, exactly. Okay, so we've got our 100 grams of sugar. Next we're going to go in with our 200 grams of vegan margarine. So this is the problem when you share a house with people. There are weird shapes cut out of the vegan margarine. Why do you think that happened? Why would anyone do that? So I'm going to pause the video while I cut from the other side, because normally you can just cut along the markings, but obviously I can't in this case. So I'm going to get the right amount of margarine and then come back to you. So the last thing I need to do is add in 300 grams of flour, which I'm going to do now. Don't forget to sieve it. I suppose it's not as important as when you're making a cake, but you still want to make sure you get it nice and fine. Okay, so now I've got my 3 ingredients in. I've got the fun part, which is kneading it all together. So ideally you want to chop up the margarine into really small chunks, and that will just make this next step easier. You just need to get your hand in there, make sure you've washed your hands first, I have. And then you just knead the mixture together until it comes together to form a dough. Okay, so the dough has come together really nicely. If you're wondering why it's so small, I did eat a bit of it. I probably would have eaten even more if I hadn't been filming. I don't know about you, but I prefer the taste of raw biscuit batter to the actual thing itself. In my pre-vegan days, I would buy tubes of cookie dough and just eat it. I think it's nicer, but fortunately, because I was filming, I still have a bit left. So what I'm going to do, if you want to make rainbow cookies, you would need to split this into 7, maybe increase the measurement slightly so you have more to work with. Because I'm doing red and white cookies, the way I want to do it is I'm going to have a big red cookie, and then on top of that I'm going to have a medium-sized green cookie. Actually, these aren't that different in size. You know what? Change of plan. I'm gonna have big red cookie and then little green cookie in the middle. I thought they were vastly different sizes, but that's what we're gonna do. So I think I'm gonna have 2 halves. I'm gonna split it into 2, but obviously 1 half is gonna be slightly smaller because we need less for the small. So just a bit less than a half, and then a slightly bigger half. Now we've got the fun part. So a theme may be emerging. I'm not the most organised person, hence the fact that even though I went on earlier about how you want to have gloves, you want the thin latex ones when you're dealing with food dyes so it doesn't get in your hands. I forgot to buy them. So we normally have some in our cupboard, but they ran out and I didn't realise. So I'm gonna have rainbow hands today, or red and green hands, but that's fine because tomorrow's Christmas and I'll be very on theme. So I'm gonna go in first with the red food dye, and I'm gonna dye this red. This is quite strong dye, so when using dye, I would say add a little bit first, and then if you need more, you can add it. So I'm just gonna make a little well in this lump of dough, and I'm just gonna go in, it's definitely red, isn't it? Yeah. I'm gonna go in with 3 dots, I think. And then try not to touch the dye directly, and then I'm just going to shut that little hole over it, and then I'm just going to knead it. So it's going to go pink first, and then it's going to go red. And after, you can see the dye starting to come through already, and then after you've kneaded it thoroughly, that's the point you can decide, do you want to add more dye? Is it not taking? So I think I will probably need to add more dye. We've got bits of pink coming through, but not a huge amount. Okay, so I've had a bit of a disaster. I've added about 35 drops of the red food dye and it's ended up very, very pink. So I've got black and I'm going to go in with it. Don't know how it's going to go, I'm not an artist, but I think it stands to reason. If you darken pink with black, you should end up with red, right? So we're going to do that now. This could destroy everything. I'm going to add 2 drops of black and then see what happens. So the dough didn't turn out exactly the colour I wanted. After adding black, my pink became bubblegum pink. Couldn't get it to red, don't know why. And then this is my green. I wanted a deep red and a deep green, didn't happen, but at least it is green. No one can dispute that. So I'm just going to roll these out now. Okay, so in terms of rolling, I actually have a different strategy. So what I do is, you start off with a ball, then I just kind of squish it to make it like a sausage, and then roll it. I find it's easier than working with a rolling pin, and when you've got like this kind of long sausage thing, I just kind of press it down. The thing with a rolling pin, even if you coat it in flour, it can stick to the dough, and I find this approach just a bit easier. So I'm just going to do this for the pink one as well. Got my big ball, I'm just going to roll it out. And press it down. This one needs to be slightly bigger because we're going to do the bigger stars on this one. So I've got my 2, you can see it, I've got my 2 strips, which I'm going to cut the stars out of. In terms of the width, you want it to be about 1 centimetre. You don't want it to be uneven in terms of the width, because then the biscuits will cook at different times, and we want everything to be about 10 minutes. So I've got my biscuits, I'm going to go in with the big cutter, and I'm just going to cut out a few shapes. And the thing with cooking, sometimes it works just like you want it to, sometimes it does not. But even though it doesn't look just like I want it to, I'm sure it's going to taste fine. So I've got 4 stars out of that, and I'm going to cut probably, you think a little bit wider, so it's big enough. A bit wider, there we go. I'm going to cut 4 to 5 stars out with the slightly smaller cutter. Can I get one more? Yeah, there we go. And now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take off the edges, and I'm going to take a smaller one and place it inside the bigger one. So here I've got a small one, need a knife, there we go, and I'm just going to place that inside the small one, the big one, sorry. Okay, so I've got the big star and the little star, and I've just pressed them together slightly so they don't separate. It would have been better if it had been red, but oh well. And now I'm just going to place it on a baking tray and then do the same with the other ones, and I'll show you the finished product shortly. So they're out of the oven now. Not the most beautiful biscuits in the world, but I'm pleased with them and I'm sure they'll taste really good. So this is the Vegan Wellington. It looks utterly incredible. I'm going to place it up and show you the rest of my day. And this is my dinner. I've got the Vegan Wellington, which looks incredible. Mashed potatoes, just potatoes mashed. I don't add butter or vegan butter or anything like that. Broccoli. I've got a mix of red onion, sweet corn, peas and red pepper. I also doused that in mint sauce. I love mint sauce. Mint sauce and peas is my favourite combination. And some ketchup. So I thought I'd do a little taste test of the Vegan Wellington. It looks so delicious. So you've got the meat, or the fake meat, cranberry sauce and pastry. I'm going to add a little bit of ketchup to it because ketchup makes everything better. That is really tasty. The pastry is really crisp. The baked pork is delicious, not too chewy. Sometimes soy products are quite chewy, it's not. The cranberry sauce is lovely and sweet, and I would recommend adding ketchup to kind of round everything off. But that is absolutely delicious. I'm not going to taste test the rest of it because it's kind of basic, but I would definitely recommend the Plant Chef, the Tesco's Plant Chef Vegan Wellington. Okay, so that is the end of the vlog. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a wonderful festive period. I'm unlikely to vlog before the end of the year, probably towards the end of January. I've got a lot of coursework coming up and I haven't made much progress with them so far. But before I end, I would like to end with a quote actually from Ralph Waldo Emerson. And I think it's a really good quote for ending a year because I don't know about you, I've made a lot of mistakes in my time and I think it's very easy to allow them to kind of cloud your mind and stop you from moving forward, and it's just wasting time really because no one can change the past, no one can change the mistakes they've made. So this is I've been reading this quote a lot and I think it's a very good quote for the end of the year. So I'll share it with you now. Finish each day and be done with it. You have done what you could. Some blunders and absurdities no doubt crept in. Forget them as soon as you can. Tomorrow is a new day. You shall begin it serenely and with too high a spirit to be encumbered with your old nonsense. I love that quote. I think it's really powerful and a really good way to end off the year. So, like I said, have a wonderful festive period, have a wonderful new year, and I will see you again in 2022. Bye.